Hi everybody, I'm Jay with Ukulele J Barbecue, and today talking about sharpening knives. Got a lot of knives, it's an addiction, but I love my knives. The Tumbler system comes with a diamond coated end and a steel end, and this is a roller device that rolls back and forth atop the knife blade. It comes with a nice system of a magnetic holder, 15 degrees on one end, 20 degrees on the other. So when you put your knife on, it holds it at that perfect angle you can use to apply the tumbler across the top of the blade. We're going to show you an example, and I'm going to sharpen a knife, and we're going to see if it really does the job they say it does. Now the first knife we're going to try is our Spaceman knife. It's a utility knife. Love this knife. I use it a lot, and you'll see it's not really going to cut. Next one is my Hexclad. This is my Nikiri. I use this all the time for my vegetable chopping. I also use it for thin sliced meat. And this one is a little bit sharper that we can get started. I get it in there, and you can see it's not really making a clean cut. So we're going to sharpen them up, see how they do. First up is our Spaceman knife. We'll be using the 20-degree angle on the block. And the thing about this is that you can use the 20-degree for Western knives, and you can use your 15-degree for your Eastern or your Japanese knives. You can also take a regular knife if you want, and if you work on it enough, you can convert it to a 15-degree blade. You just place the diamond edge across the top and just roll it back and forth, just like this, and keep going until you find a burr that goes across the top of the blade, which you'll be able to detect by running your finger just slightly over the edge. I did the sharpening for 60 seconds, and then I took it off and I checked to see if I can find a burr. It was very slight, so I knew I had to go again. So I went for another 60 seconds. For a total of 2 minutes, that was it. And then we had the burr. Per the instructions, I used the steel side, the spiral, to deburr the edge of the knife. I then repeated the process on my Hexclad knife. You can hear how coarse it sounds when you start with a dull knife. And then when you finish, you'll hear it much smoother and a much different sound when you rub that across the blade. I can actually see on top of this knife the reflection of the burr, because instead of it being shiny, it's flat. And just like a whetstone, you can see the powder that has come off of this knife, except we're dry without any water. I highly recommend you buy the extra accessory, which is the leather stroping block. After using the leather strope to polish the edge, look at that. I mean, it's a pretty sharp edge, and you can see it's done very evenly. So we have sharpened both of these knives, the Spaceman utility knife and the Nikiri Hexclad. And one of the things that I always do to test a knife is there's the fingernail test, and that's putting on your fingernail and seeing if it basically catches and digs in. These definitely do. I just touch it. I cannot pull it across. And with my other knives, when they're dull, I can slide it across my nail this way. And on this, I cannot slide it across at all. I'm not going to do the hair test because I don't want to cut the hairs off my arm, but I will tell you that my experience with this was pretty impressive. We're going to do the sharpening test samples here using the paper cutting, and compared to the first ones, we'll take a look. So first up, we'll use the Spaceman utility knife. Let's see how this goes. Pretty impressive. Not a problem at all. Right through. Nice clean cuts. Now we'll go over to the Hexclad. Try this one out. Super clean cut. Super clean cut. Super clean cut. And for cooking, that's all I need. Do you need something that makes your knives so sharp using a 4000 grit stone, a whetstone, or professional sharpener sharpening your knives? You absolutely can do that. However, for those of us in the kitchen, I want to sharpen something pretty quickly. It took me less than a couple minutes to do this. I sped up the video so you didn't have to watch me doing the sharpening real time forever. But it took about 2 minutes per knife. Now each knife's going to be different because of different dullnesses or sharpnesses. My knives are usually not that dull. I usually hit them with a ceramic, and I'll show you here. And this doesn't actually sharpen the knife. This just realigns the edge. So if you're cooking and it feels like you're losing a little bit, you can go ahead and just realign the edge on this. And this is a really fine ceramic that I love, and it gets those knives back in working order, realigning the edge. I think this system is definitely a great value. This thing is super heavy. I mean, I'm really surprised. It's really heavy. Looks like very good quality. The diamond coating on this looks like it looks like to me is not just a top coating. It looks like it's the whole ceramic disc piece or the diamond disc piece that's on here. I think it's going to take a long time to wear that down. And of course the steel on the end probably won't wear down for a very, very long time. The magnetic angle guides 15 degrees on one side, which would be for, say, your Asian style or the Eastern knives, and then 20 degrees for the Western knives, such as most of these, except for the Japanese knives that I have. I would use the 15. The strope, the leather strope, is very nice. It's a really thick piece of a board, and the piece of leather on it is pretty thin, but you really should only be hitting that a little bit. You don't have to press very hard just to polish that blade up, and it works out really well. So I think overall, Tumbler system is a good system. Again, will it replace some of the other traditional whetstones and belts and other professional sharpening methods? Probably not. But for somebody who wants to sharpen their knife in the kitchen, especially somebody who doesn't really care about knives or cares about sharpening, they just want to get a knife, make sure it's sharp and use it, I think this is actually a really good system. I also like the fact that I can travel with this, throw it in my bag, and not have to really worry. The grit on this is very fine. The manufacturer, Tumbler, told me this is equivalent to a 2,000 grit stone. The nice thing about a 2,000 grit stone is it's not so coarse, but it's not a 4,000 or 8,000 grit. So it is going to sharpen it. It is going to take some metal off, but just a slight amount. So you're not going to be chewing up that blade. And I'm really impressed with that. Having a 2,000 grit that you can use for anything is fantastic. Would I like to see some other grits down the road from them, or a way to put a different grit on this? Absolutely. I'd love to see a 400 or 800, and then a 1,000, 2,000, 4,000, 8,000, which is a nice line that I use with some of my other whetstones for my knives. But again, for general purpose, it's going to get your knife sharp enough that you're going to be able to slice your vegetables, cut your meat, and everything else with no problem. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this little demonstration. Please make sure you subscribe and follow me, and like this video. We'll see you again soon. Thanks.